Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief, APGAINS. I'm joined by Commissioner Matt, and you guys know what that means. Likely, you guys don't actually know what that means. Matt, what does that mean?
That means we're here for IGL Week 2. We got some scores, and we're ready to go over what happened this week.
Exactly. Season 2 of Week 2 of the IGL. For those of you who don't know, really quickly, IGL, Intergalactic Grand Arena League. It's Star Wars Galaxy Universe Esport. You play on a team. Each team has 10 players. The captains of each team, Ahnald, Crumb, the developer. It's just Ian and Gridden. So let's start off. This is going to be a longer video. We're going to talk to some of the contestants and get their input. We're going to talk to some of the better contestants, and maybe they can share some wisdom on how to be so dominant in Grand Arena. So I'm opening up scores number 1, $5 Plo Jobs. It's just Ian's team. The Ahnalderon Annihilators, that's Ahnald's team. As we can see, some of the key players from the $5 Plo Jobs. Sir Loki, you guys will notice him from the RSG channel, the Reality Skewed Gamers, a great content creator.
Agreed.
And Baby Goat, the Division 2 member of Ahnald's team, was actually our MVP from last year. An outstanding performer. He also streams on YouTube. Go check out Baby Goat on YouTube. Now, this was a close one. This was week 2. So Plo Jobs were looking. They're the champions from last year. They beat Ahnald 5-0 in scoring last year, a clean sweep of Season 1. They had 105,371 points through week 2. That's week 2 only, so this does not count their championship score from the previous week, because each week is scored individually. So 105,371, and Ahnald surprisingly pulled out a victory. His first ever point scored, not only in the IGL, but against Ian in general. 106,908 points. A slim margin of victory, but a margin of victory nonetheless, putting Ahnald at 1-1 and putting Ian at 1-1. So it's still anyone's game who is going to make the postseason in week 4, the Cup, the Super Bowl, the IGL. Any comments on some of the performers from either the Plo Jobs or the Ahnalderon Annihilators?
You know, this was actually a really close matchup. I mean, what are we looking at? 1,300 banners there. I mean, especially for those Division 1 and 2 players, I mean, that's pretty easy to make up there. And so I think that's where we're really lacking those banners, and where we'd probably like to see a little bit better performance. You can look at some of those lower divisions and see some definite gaps. Looking here, Division 8 is definitely one that probably could have used some improvement. But overall, a solid performance from both teams, honestly. Really good IRPs all around, and really great performance. And it just seemed that the Ahnalderon's Annihilators seemed to just edge out a little bit more.
And because a lot of people are hearing about the IGL for the first time, IRP stands for Intergalactic Relative Performance. We have Mike on our team of administrators for the IGL. He created a statistical way to show how good you are at Grand Arena. An IRP of 1.0 means you got absolutely perfect banners, 64 banners, or it changes for 3v3, of course, but perfect banners throughout every single battle. And, of course, you can have an IRP higher than 1 if you complete in-game feats, giving you more championship score, helping you to improve. So let's go to the next one. We have the Hive of Crumb and Villainy, Crumb's team, of course, CG Crumb, and the Pretty Boys, captained by Gridden. Now, this one, we're showing the scores here. Tell us who won this matchup. It wasn't very close. It wasn't as close as the previous one, but the Hive has players like Van Seal and Voxen, 2 content creators, as well as a couple of other favorites. Kilo Man, we're going to hear from later. Quantum Flux, a fan favorite. And the Pretty Boys. No huge names that you guys may be accustomed to from the content creation standpoint outside of Gridden himself, but an all-around solid performance across the board.
Yeah, this week was, for this matchup, it was kind of a slaughter, honestly. The Pretty Boys showed up and just handed it to the 0-3 Crumb. I mean, the Hive of Crumb and Villainy.
The Hive of not the 0-3 Crumb.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry.
He's great at Grand Arena.
100%. If we're looking at the IRP here, Pretty Boys had an IRP total overall for the team of 1.01. Getting over 1 for their whole team average is extremely impressive, whereas the Hive is sitting at 0.986. Still
close,
decent IRP, but
it's one. It's not better than perfect. You can't ask for much more than better from perfect than across the entire team. Now, Crumb's team lost by about 3,000 banners. If we just open this up here, if we look at the Division 8 matchup between Paul and Jose, that is basically the entire difference in one battle. So for those of you who think that all of the damage is done at the upper divisions, you think only the Division 1, 2, and 3 players are having a say in the final scoring, just look no further than Division 8. I mean, we know a bunch of players who are Division 8 coming in with 4,600 banners in Division 8 was the difference here. And Jose, good job on Jose for securing a good score for his team. But, every single player from Division 1 to Division 10 needs to do their part if your team wants to win. And that's why I love the IGL, because it's fairly balanced. It's completely balanced, actually. And it's just fantastic to see that, even players on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of GP division can have such a big impact. Now, we're going to talk about one more thing before we go talk to a couple of the contestants. And it's a change of the scoring system, right? Previously, we had 2 points. We had the first 3 weeks before the playoffs start count for 3 points. And the other 2 were going to be fan voting plus fan feats. We've combined those 2 into 1 point. So fan feats will be assigned a point number, and fan voting will go into that. And the team, of course, with the most will receive a point from that. But the 5th point will come entirely from the team captain. So this is why it's important that your team captain, either Ahnald, Gridden, Crumb, or Ian, is good at Grand Arena, because we will take the IRP for the first 3 weeks of those contestants, and whoever has the highest IRP will receive a point for their team. So let's say Gridden has the highest IRP. The Pretty Boys will receive a point. Let's say Ahnald has the highest IRP. You guys are going to have to go into his stream and let him know that he needs to be very efficient and do his feats, because if he gets a high IRP, he could secure that point. And especially right now, Pretty Boys are probably going to be in the playoffs. It's kind of up in the air who else will. I mean, depending on fan voting plus individual IRP for the team captains, we don't know who that is. So it could be Ian if he overperforms in GAC. It could be Ahnald if he overperforms in GAC. We honestly don't know until the end of week 3, and that's what makes it exciting. So we're going to go talk to some of the contestants, and then we'll wrap it up a little bit. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed Season 2, Week 2 of the IGL. Let's go hear from some of the contestants. Hey guys, we're joined by Dogbird, aka Anthony. If that name sounds familiar, it's because his name is perpetually above my right shoulder on the wall of sexy people. The top spot up there with the likes of Alec the Legendary, the Cup God himself. How are you doing, my friend? My friend, I was going to say, how are you doing today? My friend. Just answer the question before I say any more stupid stuff.
I'm doing great.
We're going to leave that awkward pause in there, unedited, because this is the IGL. Yes, the name sucks. No, we're not going to change it. We're talking week 2. And in week 2, for those who don't know, you're on the Pretty Boys. In week 2, you had a total banners in Division 6 of 12,998, which puts you firmly in 8th place in all of Division 6. Correct me if I'm wrong?
That sounds about right to me.
And what happens when you're 8th place in your entire division, you're likely to have a very high IRP, as we've talked about before, Intergalactic Relative Performance. The statistical way to find out how good you are at Grand Arena, you have an IRP of 1.166 in week 2. 1, of course, being perfect banners, which means you have completed some feats, and catapulted yourself to, I guess, the top non-whale spot, officially the best non-whale in the IGL history. Through 2 weeks of Season 2, so I guess congratulations are in order, sir. How you feeling? You feel on top of your game? Talk some trash, maybe pick yourself up. What do you got?
People told me going for bloat was not the strategy. You got to be hyper efficient. You got to have all the best teams like your Revens, your CLS. But I said no. I started at the bottom of the barrel with my Scoundrels. And now I've built up so many non-good teams that I have every team in the game to beat every possible defense. It only took me 2 years, but you get there.
I like how that first part was like a McDonald's commercial, like, you got to embrace the bloat, baby. And the second part was an anti-APGAINS, like, political attack ad coming at my efficiency. You know what? Here's the moral of the story, and I think this is the great thing about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. It's such a long game that no matter where you are, you can always eventually come back to being on top. So like you said, it took you about 2 years of having a bloated account, so now you just have every character, non-GL of course. That's allowed you to dominate Division 6. I mean, being top 10 in Division 6 through 2 weeks is no small feat, and I assume that if you continue to have excellence complete feats, you'll be in that top 10 going into the final weeks of the season. So, I mean, I think a lot of people can learn from your story, not necessarily having a hyper-focused account at the very beginning, but eventually working your way, grinding it out, and getting to a point where you can be a great GAC player and have a lot of fun teams kind of thrown in there. So you said you have a lot of not good teams that give you all of the advantages. What's your favorite not good team that you find yourself using quite frequently in GAC?
My favorite not good team is probably Young Hung with Vandor Chewbacca.
And how come?
People get caught off by guard. Oh my gosh, I said that backwards. Get caught off guard by a Young Hung with Vandor Chewy. Because Young Hung gets super fast if he gets the turns. And my Vandor is modded for pure health, so he's constantly getting prepared. And they can't kill off that team. So
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't know how either of their kits work. When I go against a relict young team, an underage squad, if you will, I just throw a random team and blow them out of the water. So I have no idea how Young Han's kick works. But apparently he's fast, and I know Vandor brings people back, which is why you got to kill him first. But I think you're taking advantage of, even I don't understand how the team works entirely, the nitty gritty, and a lot of other players don't. So I think you're taking advantage of some mechanics that aren't frequently used. Now, this is not a question I've asked any of the other interviewees because I control time, so this happens before and or after everyone else has been interviewed. But if you were placed, we just had the Speed GAC with the content creators and developers, RIP Ahnald. What team would you have thrown in there to confuse either the other content creators or the developers that you think your knowledge of the gutter of the putrid street rats down at the bottom of rosters, what would have given you an advantage? What team would you have thrown in there? All Relic 9, of course. Max mods, so.
That's the tough thing, because when everything's at Relic 9, it kind of... You can't catch people off guard because they're all expecting super tanky characters. So a lot of my weird teams, like my Young Hung and Vandor Chewy, even though they're gear 9, you never see them on defense. So that's what catches them off guard. But when you expect an account that has every character all at Relic 9, it's kind of reverse psychology where you expect the unexpected.
So you would play vanilla, you would be boring, you would be the missionary of GAC players, is that what you're saying?
Well, this wouldn't necessarily win or catch someone off guard, but I think a Zam Wessel lead bounty hunter team might be a little different.
Because she's so beautiful?
Oh my gosh, those bounty hunters, you just let her get too close and then she sticks a detonator on you, it's over.
I would be honest, before she died and changed back, I would let her stick a detonator anywhere she wanted. I'm being 100% honest. This is an IGL video, which means it requires a certain amount of intelligence to watch, which means Nicole will not be watching. So I'm sorry, babe, but Zam Wessel, please detonator me anywhere of your choosing. I think I can comfortably state that publicly. I mean, it's not the most embarrassing thing I've said publicly. You come to a lot of streams. I'm sure you're well aware of the fact that I don't have very much self-respect. But the one thing that I will always assure people is that Zam Wessel can thermal detonator me. And that's just the way it is. I mean, sometimes things change. Sometimes things remain the same. I'm sure you, as a wise old man, know that. Obviously, gracing into your 90s at the moment. We're going to get out of here. We're going to talk to your competition. I don't know if we can call them competition with IRP at a 1166. Maybe your subordinates, your inferiors, but we're going to talk to them nonetheless. Do you have any words to pass on before I go speak to some other IGL participants?
Just as one, I'd like to shout out my team I've been looking through all the other team chats, and I just want to say thank you to my teammates who have been so understanding and so willing to help out their other teammates. I really think that's why we're going to be the top team in the IGL, just because we have that camaraderie built up, unlike the other teams.
Unlike the other teams, you guys do by far have the most active chat in the members Discord. So we've reached 8 minutes, which is an entire full feature-length APGAINS video smacked right into the middle of the Week 2 recap. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to go talk to his competition. Maybe they'll have some schmack talk for him. Thank you, Anthony, and I guess we'll see you in Week 3 as well. And maybe in the Cup if you guys happen to make it. Spoiler, you guys probably will.
I look forward to it.
All right, we're joined by Kilo Man. How you doing, my friend?
Great. How about yourself?
I have some complaints, but those are for the man and will be discussed in a different video. You're on Crumb's team, a.k.a. the Hive of Crumb and Villainy. You're their Division 10 player. And
Correct.
Let's just say that you are absolutely, for lack of a better term, shitting on all of your opponents. The other 3 opponents that you have in Division 10 have half of your of your Week 2 banners. Let's just say it was not a productive week for the 3 of them. You have an IRP, like we talked about previously, is just how we statistically quantify how good you are, of 0.98, which is very close to perfect. And it's harder to get those higher IRPs in the early stages, because not only do you need to get perfect banners, but you also need to do feats, and feats are oftentimes locked behind having more access to different characters. So having an IRP of 0.98 is actually quite impressive for Division 10. Is there a secret to your success that you find is helping you dominate Week 2?
Honestly, I don't know. I didn't start using your farming guide till late.
Damn it, man!
Sorry, but my
sorry.
other account is doing pretty good too.
Good.
But
don't ever disrespect me like that to my face with a Packers banner. Good luck with Jordan Love.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. I don't know why Aaron Rodgers is crazy. He's crazy.
He's a wild man. But how are you having success? Are you full clearing? Are you placing hard defenses? What has been your key to success?
I full clear. I keep both my relics on offense, and my geos are usually in front of my ships, or I have them in the back wall so no one clears that. So I'm never getting full cleared at all. And my ships are pretty good as my secondary, but yeah, I keep everything for offense usually, but my good defensive teams are obviously on my defense. Like my Padme and Geos, they stay on defense.
And what do you do for that third defensive team? Do you end up throwing in garbage behind your Padme, behind your Geos, or what do you usually do that? Because those weaker teams, especially in Division 10, can be massive banners for your opponent. So you don't want to be too weak when you place that third team, but oftentimes, I mean, it's hot garbage. So what do you place in there?
Either Jedi, like Bastila, or I put my Rebels, like my Stormtrooper Han, but usually kind of trash, but they're decent enough to get a couple holds sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as offense goes, I imagine you're using you said you have 2 relics. Can you?
Yeah, my Vader, my
Yes.
Jedi Vader, and
Yes. If you were going to say
CLS.
anything else, I was going to punch you in the face. All right, Vader relics, solos, big banners. Well, it's 3v3, so it's as big a banners as you can get. And you said your second relic was CLS?
Yeah, CLS, and then I have my bounty hunters.
Bosk Zeta?
Yes, yes.
Music to my ears. Well, I would say that with an IRP of 0.98 in Week 2 and a total IRP of 0.9 through 2 weeks total, you are the epitome of what a good Division 10 player looks like. So we thank you for this Week 2 update. Hopefully, we hear from you in Week 3. We'll see how scheduling works. But you're on the Hive, and you guys are not doing super hot. Is it basically over for the Cup this year, and at this point you're just trying to overperform to increase your contract going into a contract year for next year? Free agency, of course, approaching soon. What's your mentality being on a not-so-great franchise at the moment?
Honestly, I'm looking like LeBron on the Cavs in 2018. I'm just doing what I have to do to prove everybody, and
And you're gonna sign with the
hopefully
Lakers
people
next
see
year.
that. Most definitely,
Well,
the winning team.
I look forward to seeing you on the Lakers next year, and then you'll get hurt and they'll suck, and then the year after that you'll win. So you'll have some success.
I'll have success at one point.
At one point, but luckily the turnover is quite quick, only 1 month per season, so we'll be seeing a lot of you in the near future. Thanks. We're gonna go talk to the rest of your competitors, man, and have a good one. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, I'm APGAINS, Matt, the commissioner of the IGL. So if you ever have someone that you want to boo, remember it's always acceptable to boo the commissioner in any form of sport or esport. Any conclusions before we get out of here? Any exciting storylines going into week 3? How do you think season 2 is gonna end up?
So I just wanted to go over our standings really quickly. I mean, we got the Pretty Boys at the top that are now 2-0. We have the Plo Jobs and the Ahnald Annihilators, who are both 1-1, and we do have the Hive of Crumb and Villainy bringing up the bottom of the league at 0-2 at the moment. So going into week 3, we'd like to see Hive get a win. And can anyone defeat the Pretty Boys? That's the big question to going into next week.
That is a big question. And who are they facing in week 3? I think a lot of people are going to be interested in seeing that if they actually have the opportunity to go undefeated. Then again, Tom Brady went undefeated and ended up losing to the greatest quarterback of all time, Eli Manning. So we might have a similar situation here, but who are they going to be facing in week 3, Matt?
So for week 3, it's going to be the Ahnald Annihilators going up against the Hive, and the $5 Plo Jobs going up against the Pretty Boys.
So the defending champions going up against the current league leaders in week 3. It's going to be a tough battle for both teams. I think Ian, that's a must-win for Ian's team if he wants to get back into the playoffs and have an opportunity to go back-to-back in the championship. So certainly something we're going to want to stay tuned for. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the week 3 video, where we'll probably talk to some of the team captains, and then in the playoffs, where make sure to check out all of the contestants, because a lot of the contestants actually enjoy streaming their GACs. So if you have a favorite player that you saw through an interview, maybe ask for them in the comment section. We'll set you up with their personal YouTube or Twitch channel, so you can maybe see a couple of their battles. And as always, I love you, blah, 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 outro stuff. We're going to get out of here. I'm not going to edit that butchering of the outro out because it's APGAINS and I do minimal editing.
You don't edit here.
Because I am depressed.